Okay, Whistling Straits in Haven, Wisconsin. Grade B star, slope 145, played the blue tees at slope 145, length 7150 yards. It cost me $680 to play the course at approximately 1:15 on the, about the 22nd of September. Without a caddy, I carried my bag, I took pictures, I carried my drinks, and I played. The weather was really nice. It was about 80 degrees, 75, 80 degrees. A little bit on the cold side when we started, but it definitely warms up when you're out there walking around for 5 hours in the sun. We finished just before it got dark, and we barely had, I think, enough time to finish the 18th hole without a problem. So let me summarize up front by saying that there are really a bunch of things about this course that are really standard that you have at golf courses, pretty much any golf course you play. And there are some things that are standard about playing a golf course that's busy. There's some things that are standard about playing a golf course that's expensive. There are standard things about playing a golf course that's very hard, a slope 140 plus golf course. And there are some things that are particular to Whistling Straits, okay? So the thing about playing this course, it is a difficult course. It is expensive. And when we played it, it was packed. Right now, I looked today at the available tee times for the next 14 days. The course has like 2 openings over the next 2 weeks. And the problem is that the more people are playing the course, the more you have to deal with surge pricing, meaning the price goes up relative to what the baseline price would be. And the more that you have to deal with factors that are very standard for all courses, especially busy courses, especially tough, busy courses, which are people that want to play fast and people that want to play slow. And this is a message to the Whistling Straits management as much as anybody else. You have both players on the course, and it is just a matter of time until the one group that wants to blaze around the course butts up against all the people who are playing at normal speed or want to play at normal speed, and get squeezed between the fast players and the slow players. And this is one of the things that really generated a lot of, I would say, discomfort in our group. We spent a fair amount of time watching the group ahead of us play, okay? They were going off on the sides, down by the lake looking for balls. They had their caddies out there looking for balls, stuff like that on the first hole, second hole. And it was just odd how every other hole we seemed to be sitting there either in the fairway watching them on the green or on the tee box watching them on the fairway or something. We were just constantly waiting for these guys to get off the course. Now, what would often happen is that behind us, the group would come up behind us and sit there and watch us play. And there were times when they were no more than 100, maybe even 75 yards behind us. So we had a lot of warning that this was going to become a problem. And at about the 12th or 13th hole, it actually did. And the irony was that we're sitting there, we thought that pretty much we're done with the round or pretty close to it. Up comes the course monitor or whatever the guy is. And it's like, oh, you guys are playing slow. Can you pick it up or play ready golf or whatever? And I'm going, it's really funny how we have played pretty much the round. Now you guys are giving us crap about playing golf slow. And we are sitting here waiting for the guys ahead of us to get off the green so we can play. We're on one of those par threes on the backside, and we just sat here for 5 minutes and watched them play the hole. I have pictures of it in my video. I made sure they were in there, where they have like 8 people crawling around the greens. We're sitting there on the tee box watching them play. What can we do? We can't go through them, on a par 3 where it's like 175 yards, 200 yards to the green. We can't play through them. We have to wait. We have to wait behind them. Everybody else has to wait behind us. That's just how it is. So there were 2 things I think about this whole round that really kind of got under my skin. One from the start, that I wasn't allowed to play the black tees, which are unique black tees. They are 7,900 yard black tees. Slope 152, 7,900 yard back tees, okay? Unique tees. The second problem is we're getting grief from the course management about playing slow, and that was just like putting me almost on boil. We were just playing the rest of the round. It was just so ludicrous that You know, we're supposed to be racing to play faster so we can wait more behind these guys? No. And so the whole thing is ultimately that we really had to worry about the same kind of problems that you always have to worry about on a busy course. You always do. There's always going to be somebody who plays slow. They're meticulous with their chipping. They're meticulous with their putting, you know, and they're always going to be somebody who plays fast, who's, you know, drop ball, smash up to the fairway, smash up to the green, putt and get out. There's always people like that. Okay. And everybody who plays golf knows how this works. Sometimes you get the fast guys who want to race through you. And sometimes I've had guys hit literally through me or try to hit through me. And sometimes you get the slow guys who will sit there in front of you on the green. They know you're there. They'll just ignore you. They'll just take forever to putt. Especially, you ever had to sit there and watch a foursome where they're playing for money or something, or they seem like they're playing for money, and they just take all freaking day to putt. It's like, Jesus, guys, you're not playing for the Open. They're 10 feet from the freaking pin, taking their time in forward to putt. Good Lord, it's not that serious. Okay, but I can tell you at the same time, it sucks to pay $700 for a round of golf and feel like you have to rush your shots. It's crazy. There were shots that I didn't play off the side of the fairway. There were shots I didn't play off the side of the green. There were shots that I didn't really sit down and set up my putts, all because I'm worried about not holding up the guys behind us. And this was before the marshal came out and talked to us. Okay? We did our very best to play as fast as we could without running over the group ahead of us. And that meant quite often we were sitting there watching the group ahead of us and there was a group right behind us. If we had just stuck to our normal play, the group would have been right behind us, but at least we wouldn't have been hovering over the group ahead of us. The thing about this whole course is that it's supposed to be a 5.5 hour round. Walking, 5.5 hour round. So there is no excuse for anyone on the course to be pushing somebody on the course. 5.5 hour walking around is a simply amazing amount of time to play golf. Especially for people who are used to playing around in 3 hours. I play rounds usually 3 hours and 30 minutes at the most. Sometimes I played them in 2:45. I almost never play more than 4 hour rounds. So when we're sitting in the middle of the 14th tee box looking at the group on the green or watching them walk off the green, and we're 4 hours into the round and we know we still have an hour left and 4 holes to play, 15, 16, 17, and 18, it's just really burns me to think that I'm going to get guff from the course manager for playing slow, or that I should play faster. We technically have an hour and a half to finish these 4 holes. Okay? So ultimately what I'm saying is, I was a little bit upset about all this, but ultimately what I'm saying is that it's just, you can take any course, and ruin it by being an asshole in the course. You could take any round, anywhere, and ruin it for other people by being an asshole in the course. And it isn't helping when the course management's being assholes on the course, okay? They're not the only course managers that I've seen who are basically saying, you know what, we're going to not let anybody just walk up and play the back tees. Look, this is the longest set of tees I've ever even considered playing. But I've played many 7,400 yard back tees, slope 145 back tees. Now, when you say that somebody has to be a scratch player to play them, keep in mind that everyone pays the same to play the course. Everybody. If you play the red tees, white tees, blue tees, you're paying exactly the same money to play the course. On what basis do you tell people they cannot play that are 25, 15% of a hole because they aren't going to score low enough, or they haven't scored low enough? That's not the issue. The issue is how long does it take them to play the hole, okay? The issue is, are they going to play it like a jackass and take forever to play it? And listen, obviously, they can do that from any tee. Any tee. They don't need to stay off the back tees to play a regular pace. What they need to do is not play a slow pace. They need to play a regular pace. If they have no intention to play a regular pace, it isn't going to matter what tee they play from. They could play from the red tees and still take forever. The facility is actually 2 golf courses, and then there's a like a hotel, English Edwardian or something like that hotel that's also on the grounds of the Kohler Resort. So it's not just whether or not this course, Whistling Strait, has a place to stay or not. It's really just a clubhouse, and it has a nice dining area and everything in it. The hotel resort area is away from the Straits course. And so I was wrong about that in the first video, and I wanted to correct that in this one. But I personally think that you have to really be careful playing this course, because you book a tee time early, you might get it at half a decent price. You might get it at $500, $400. I could have gotten my first tee time at $400 if I bought it online. Okay, that was in the early part of September. But I didn't, and I missed my tee time, so I didn't get there on time. And then during the course of the day, as you get later in the afternoon and the course fills up, the price of the tee time just keeps going up, and that's why my tee time ended up being $680. It would have been more if I paid for a caddy, okay? So it would have been $700 plus the caddy tips or whatever that you give for the caddy. I can say this, it was a decent course to walk. I certainly had a good exercise walking that course, carrying my clubs. I can't imagine what it would be like having a caddy carry my clubs. I'm Joe Poss gentleman walking around the golf course, and I have a man at hand to carry my clubs. If I'm going to play golf and carry clubs, I'll carry my own clubs, thank you. Plus, it's another person whose opinion I have to deal with when it comes to playing the course. I certainly would recommend that you take the time to look at the course website, because they have a very decent, at least, scorecard and description of the course. The pictures there are not really good. Go onto YouTube and find some of the other videos about Whistling Straits, such as there is a video that says every hole at Whistling Straits. I mean, they did a series where they have flyovers and flybys and stuff like that. All the holes, all the shots, every hole. I may have missed a few. It's okay. The basic premise to this course is it is a nice seaside course. It's a quiet course. The land is a reasonable amount of verticality. It's got a fair amount of waste, but usually you can track that into the waste and play the waste. If you find your ball, fine, you can play. It's not that hard. I did it a few times. It's not that hard to walk through the waste if you walk down, from the tee box into the waste. You don't want to be going off the side of the fairway down into the waste. That's more vertical. It's better to just walk from the tee box and walk through where you think your ball went and see if you find it. If you didn't find it, drop in a fairway and keep going. It's not like that hard to do that. The big thing is that when you get around the greens, and the greens are really vertical around the greens, it's much more of a challenge to walk up and down the sides of those greens and play out of the side slopes. That might be where things get a little bit out of hand for doing that. There is a lake on the fifth hole that stretches around the left side of the fairway. It starts on the right side, and then it breaks across the fairway and goes to the left side where the green is. Other than that, there really isn't much water on the course. The 18th hole is definitely a jagged mess, and when we played in the afternoon, we were playing into the sun. Again, just play up there and do the best you can with it. There were a few holes I thought were really good challenges, like the 17th hole I thought was awesome. Not an easy hole for a right-handed player. And other than that, I think that the whole course was fairly strong, but I didn't think it was all that hard. I'll be honest with you. I really thought it was about a B-star course. I thought it was a decent layout, and I thought the main problem with this course was just the amount of headache that came along with simply playing with a lot of people who play at different speeds. No matter what you do, where you go, if you play a busy course with different people who play at different speeds, you're going to run into trouble. You're either going to run over them or they're going to run over you. It's just a common thing. So in that regard, you will not have that much of a different experience playing this course as you would play a less popular course somewhere in the middle of nowhere, where you have almost the whole course to yourself and you can play it pretty much at your leisure. It's just a better experience to play golf than to worry about playing a PGA Championship golf course and then have to play with like 50 other people on the course. I really think there are three outstanding factors about this course. One is the price. Second is the fact that it's popular. And the third is the fact that you can't get on the back tees. I'm sorry, I'm so used to playing the back tees. I almost always play. It has been a long time since I have not been able to play the back tees on a golf course. So for me, part of the problem was that I was expecting to play the back tees. At least the closer I got to it, the more I remembered that I might have a little trouble getting to the back tees. And by the time I walked up to the starter shack, I said, well, I'm going to ask him just to not sound like I'm just going to jump on the tees and not care whether they want to let me play them, because I know they won't. So I got into a casual conversation with the starter. The starter said the usual, we're not going to let you play the back tees unless you're a scratch golfer. And I kind of hemmed and hawed with him about it, but I knew it was going to go nowhere. And that's fine. But I still think that is entirely wrong, that it's not how low you score that matters. It's how fast you play that matters. I don't care if they get on the tees and shoot a 120, as long as they take 4 hours or less to play. As long as I'm not sitting there waiting on them every hole. Okay? Which is not surprising if I'm going to wait on them a minute or two every hole. And that's where I need to slow down and let them play their pace, and I just need to take more time playing my pace. Okay? What I do have a problem is if they're trying to shoot as low as they possibly can and they're willing to take as much time as they can to do it. That does not help anybody. I don't care if they shoot 10 under their normal score and they take 6 hours to play the round. That's not helping. I'm not going to sit there and watch somebody for, out of 6 hours, I'm spending 75% of the time standing there watching them play. That's not going to happen. I wouldn't care what tee they play from. But I can understand to a certain point what happens when you run a golf course. You have all kinds of yahoos on it. I can understand that to a certain point. And the point is this. Again, it does not matter what tee they play from. If they're going to play slow, it won't matter. So when you basically screw your customers out of the full course, the full experience, a unique experience, you're basically condemning them as slow players. You've never even seen them play before. And there are plenty of examples of players who are really good players like Kevin Na and so on the tour. Every time they play, they're like getting crap from other players because they're so slow. It's not like being a scratch golfer is going to solve that problem. It just doesn't. But what it is going to do is fuck your clients. Okay? And I, for one, say that there is no way I'm going to consciously go to a course where it looks at me and says, no, we won't let you play the black tees. I'm not going to consciously walk to that course. And I'm damn sure not paying $700 for it. So that's pretty much that. I might try it again. I might actually go up there and ask them if I can play the blacks. If they say no, I'm not going. That's Whistling Straits in Haven, Wisconsin.